I'm very glad to be here today and to start this session on COVID-19. I will present an overview of the epidemiological and medical characteristics of the patients in MSF interventions. What I should aim at when... So it seems like the presentation is not moving forward.
Voilà, j'attends que ma présentation se déroule.
Juste en attendant que ça fonctionne, je voulais vous signaler qu'entre bien sûr, après la première partie, on aura un temps pour répondre aux questions.
I just want to say that after the first session, we'll have some Q&A, and of course, I'll try and relay as best as I can your questions from the Q&A. And then after the second part of our first session, we'll also take some time to answer your questions on prevalence and mortality surveys.
Close to 174 million confirmed cases and over 3.7 million deaths reported worldwide. And the Americas were the continent the most affected, with close to 70 million cases. The virus, as you know, has spread rapidly to all the regions of the world, and currently there is an important surge in cases in Asia, which is mainly driven by India. And in the most recent days, there was sharp increases of cases that were noticed in Afghanistan and also in some countries of Central Africa with the DRC, Uganda, or Zambia. Now, to evaluate the impact of COVID-19 in MSF interventions and to support the operational decisions, there was an intersectional initiative to standardize data collections in the different projects. This was led by Epicentre, and flexible tools were created to adapt to the projects and the level of care that are available in MSF. We therefore gathered both individual and aggregated data, depending on the project's capacities. Data sources like Excel tools or DHIS softwares were used, and we set up a routine data analysis on a weekly basis. And therefore, this presentation will be based on the individual data that was gathered through this system until 2 days ago on the 8th of June. And we will focus on suspect, probable, and confirmed cases. In this data set, we had close to 86,000 patient visits recorded and over 12,000 confirmed. And this represented 40 countries and over 150 projects across the world. The number of patients that was recorded in MSF per week are displayed on the graph, and you can see that that reached peaks in two distinct periods around June, July 2020, and more recently in the beginning of April 2021. This evolution of cases have been different across the different regions. In Africa, in America, and in the Middle East, you can see there is peaks of patients received in the two periods I just mentioned. While in Asia, the number of cases were more stable, and there was a peak in April recently. As an example, in the beginning of the pandemic, there was countries like Africa or African countries that reported most of the cases, while in the second surge more recently was more South Sudan or Syria, and together with Afghanistan and Venezuela that reported a bit continuously. Most of the cases that were reported were suspected, and most of the confirmed cases were reported in Africa and in the Middle East more recently in April. So now let's further describe the suspects, probable and confirmed cases. They were relatively young, with a median age of 32 years. And it was actually higher in male patients compared to female patients, and also higher in confirmed cases. The figure shows the different age pyramids of patients received in MSF across the different regions. And you can see in these figures that in Africa and in Asia, the patients looked younger, with a median age of around 30 years, while in Americas, Europe, and Middle East, the older age categories were more represented, corresponded to a median age of around 40 years. In terms of sex, the male-female ratio was 0.9, so with slightly more females than males. But actually, when you look at confirmed cases, there were more males. And there was also a difference in the regions. With Africa and Middle East, there were more males, while in Asia, there were more females. At least one other condition was reported in 19% of these patients. And this also varied by regions, as you can see on the figure on the side. Overall, diabetes and hypertension were the most frequently reported comorbidities. And renal chronic illness and hypertension were most reported in Europe, while diabetes was proportionally more represented in the Middle East. In terms of co-infection, malaria was almost exclusively reported in Africa and represented about 4.5% of the patients. And proportions of HIV and TB were also mostly coming from Africa and reached about 1% for each. Overall, there was over 20% of all the suspect, probable, and confirmed patients which were admitted in the MSF facilities. It represented less in Asia, about 6%. And in Africa, Europe, and in the Middle East, it represented 35% or over. And the evolution of the number and proportions of admitted patients can be seen on the figure. And you can see that at the beginning of the pandemic, most of the patients were admitted, but this proportion has decreased over time. And in the recent months, it just stagnates a bit below 20%. During the first peak of admissions, the severity status of the patient was not systematically recorded. However, we can see that there was important numbers of mild and moderate cases. And these proportions have decreased over time, and in the recent weeks, we can see there is more severe and critical cases now with darker colors on the graph. And overall, there was 14% of all the hospitalized patients which were in the critical state, and 27% that were severe. When it comes to mortality, there is an overall case fatality risk for suspect, probable, and confirmed patient that was of 19%. It was lower in Asia with 4%, and it reached about 26-27% in Americas and Middle East. And those differences can also be explained by the different types of projects that were set up in the different regions across the world. We can see on the figure that the case fatality risk was consistent across comorbidities in the different regions. For example, in Europe and Asia, the CFR remained low for all the comorbidities, while in Middle East, with the black dot, you can see it reached about 40% for all of them. And among severe and critical patients, the case fatality risk was about 50%, and it reached over 80% for the critical cases. As a conclusion, this presentation shows that as an actor that is present worldwide in many humanitarian contexts, MSF has the capacity to collect data about patients' profiles and to actually compare their profiles to benefit the response we can give. The risk profile of the patients was globally consistent across with other observations that was made worldwide. However, it varies across the different contexts. For example, there was higher proportions of chronic comorbidities in Middle East, and in Africa there was younger patients with more co-infections, which is actually something that could be expected from the health profiles of these countries. The harmonized data collection system that was set up in MSF allows to monitor interventions and the characteristics of the patients. However, it is to note that it covers different types of projects, and this can actually hide important disparities from countries to countries, but also in terms of program setups, admission criteria, or level of care available. And to best understand the specific context, we actually need some more detailed analysis in each of these contexts. And some of the tools that can be used for that will be presented later in this session, like the clinical data, for example, or seroprevalence surveys. Well, thank you for your attention, and I just wanted to thank everybody that worked with me on this project in each of the OCs and in Epicentre.